Hey guys, it's Danny. Today we're gonna look at some new orchids. When I made the tour of my grow space, I showed you a few orchids that I bought during the past month and that I didn't even get to film because, well, my channel is heavily orchid education oriented and sometimes I just have so many subjects that I want to address and talk about that showing off one or two or three orchids that I find every once in a while simply doesn't fit in my schedule. But many of you commented that from time to time at least you actually love these types of whole videos, so every month or 2 months maybe I can compile a video with all of the finds that I gathered from around. And that's a great idea. From time to time, it's nice to take a break from lessons and just have some fun. So I hope this video is entertaining. I hope you'll enjoy it because we're gonna look at quite a few orchids that I gathered in the past month and a half. So first off, what do we have here? Could it be yet another Ondidopsis or Oncidium Chayenne? Yes, it is. Why did I purchase it? I don't know. I wanted to have a double in case mine doesn't do so well. But in the meantime, one of the Oncidiums that we saved this spring bloomed. And guess what? It's a Cheyenne as well. So right now I have 3 of them and that's a little too much even for me. So one of these will actually go in the giveaway that we're gonna make in December. I have planned quite the nice surprises for the holidays and I am putting aside the orchids that I wanna donate, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, there we have them. I kind of overdid it because I didn't know if I would find it again, and it's red and I love red flowers. But I think I am set. I think I have enough of Cheyennes at this point. So yeah, most probably that one will go in the giveaway and I'll stick to the ones that I have. Oh, and PS, when I saved this Oncidium, it didn't have any flowers, so I didn't know what it was. It was part of those Oncidiums that I found on a forgotten bench in this garden center, along with others, so I just got them all and waited for them to bloom. Well, here he is. Recently though, last week actually, I found another type of Cheyenne in the flower shop, which is this one, but it's actually really not that similar to the proper Cheyenne that we know and love. It might be the same variety, but it might be a different cultivar perhaps, I don't know. None of these orchids have IDs actually, we just identify them over the internet, and that's never 100% correct. So it really is a mystery, but can you see the differences? This guy has much bigger flowers and the lip has a totally different pattern. Well, not really totally, but it's a lot pinker or more magenta on this one than it is on the classical Cheyenne. We also seem to have an orange patch here while the Cheyenne has a completely orange lip. Anyway, I saw it in the flower shop and even though it's very similar, it's different enough for me to want it because, yet again, I love red. I want to be surrounded by red flowers and orange flowers if at all possible. And this beautiful contrast of sweet magenta and red and orange just makes my day. So I don't know what this is. It does not look like the Cheyenne, it is similar, but it's nothing like I've ever seen in the flower shop before. Hence why I purchased it. But I think you can tell that the flowers are indeed quite larger than the Cheyenne. So if you have any ideas about this one, what this could be, let me know in a comment down below. Next up, here's another intergeneric that I've never seen in flower shops before, but it looks very similar to the Ondidopsis Bartley Schwarz, but definitely it looks different. My guess is that it is a sub-variety of that, if that's even a word, because not only the flowers smell like the Bartley Schwarz and have the same color combo, but the pseudobulb is pretty identical to that of the Bartley Schwarz. Now, this one is slightly dehydrated. I'm presuming we don't have much of a root system in the pot, so I'm seriously considering removing the flower spikes and getting to repotting these orchids. Oh, I didn't get to repot the orchids. Lately, it's been kind of busy in my life, but I will get to them probably this weekend. So with this one, yeah, I don't think I want to hang on to the flowers. They're beautiful, but they're draining the mother plant, and that's not the point. So yet another new hybrid that appeared in the flower shops this year. Maybe it's not new, it might just be new to my area, but I think it's very closely related to the Bartley Schwarz. And speaking about the Bartley Schwarz, I did manage to find myself a white Bartley Schwarz as well, which is one of those orchids that is not very finicky, not very hard to grow, but I discovered that there is such a thing as the point of no return. And it kind of makes sense. It's an Ondidopsis, Oncidium crossed with Miltoniopsis, and as we all know, Miltoniopsis do have that, let's say, disadvantage to them. They're not very hardy hybrids, not very forgiving. And with the white variety, I was never in luck. I have the red variety, which looks a little bit more like this one. I'll show it to you in a bit. It made a full recovery. It was kind of sick when I purchased it, but the white variety never recovered. So I was on the lookout for the white variety, and since I have them side by side, I think you can tell the difference between them in flower shape, not necessarily color pattern. The red variety of the Bartley Schwarz has the same shape as this one, so you can see how much rounder and how wider the petals and sepals are on this one compared to this one, which is rather twisty and quite cute, but different at the same time. They smell the same to me, not very powerful, a sweet candy-like fragrance, and moreover, pseudobulb-wise, they're very similar. They don't have any glossiness to them, and this is a trait inherited from the Odontoglossum, which looks very, very similar to this. The color of the Odontoglossum foliage and pseudobulbs is a little grayer, a little silvery. I think that's the best way I can describe it, while these are slightly more apple green. But this is an Oncidium influence. The Odontoglossum gave this mattified look, let's say, to the pseudobulbs and leaves. And just to show you, this is my Ondidopsis Bartley Schwarz, the red variety that I have for a little over a year. Root system wise, it really wasn't the best, but this year we have quite a decent looking new growth. And of course we have quite a decent root system. So he's doing okay, but as I was saying, with this hybrid, as well as with other Odontoglossum, bouncing back takes a little bit more time. And also if you cross a certain stress limit, it's not gonna do so well. Moving right along, here is an Oncidium type which just won me over. At first when I saw it, I thought, oh my goodness, it's the Rubidol variety of the Sherry Baby, but it's not. It smells nothing like chocolate. It does not look like a Sherry Baby, but some of you might remember in the past I did have a Rubidol and it was glorious. You're gonna have a picture somewhere on the screen. The color of the flower was absolutely fantastic. It had that beautiful chocolate smell. I really want to find it again, but it's not very easy to come by. So when I saw this one, I immediately thought of the Sherry Baby. It's not. But color-wise, it's very similar. So that's why I purchased it. Needless to say, I have no idea and no clue what this one could be. And I really hope that the camera manages to catch the proper colors. The petals and sepals are a very dark cherry red, while the lip is red and magenta, or actually purple at the same time, with a little bit of orange at the top and a little yellow on this little waterfall. It is a gorgeous color. So yeah, if I cannot have the Rubidol Sherry Baby, at least I want to have something that looks like it. I love this deep red and even deep purple, surprisingly enough. And being that it might be a Colmanera or an Oncidium type of some sorts, with some Odontoglossum traits, it does have a sort of sweet, plasticky type of fragrance, and it has a round pseudobulb. Next up, here's a little guy that looks a bit like the Jungle Monarch, which I don't have in my collection. Do I? Well, I might, because this spring I bought some Oncidiums without flowers. But anyway, I didn't actually have that orchid for a while now, and I found this one which looks slightly different. It's not the Jungle Monarch. It still has that wild pattern on the sepals and petals, but the lip is kind of white. Anyway, I've never seen it in flower shops. Might be a new hybrid. Yet again, no idea. Have no idea what it could possibly be. I need to start investigating the new hybrids. Look at the Netherlands websites. Maybe they're gonna say at least a commercial name. But I do believe it is closely related to the Jungle Monarch. I think in the old days, these were called the Odontocidiums because they were a combination of Oncidium and Odontoglossum. Nowadays, Odontoglossums are Oncidiums, so who knows anymore? It smells exactly like the Jungle Monarch, so I think they're related. Now the problem with this guy is that the pseudobulb does not want to hydrate, and if you can see at the top, we do have some good roots, and it is fairly wet. I kept it a little bit wet just to see if the pseudobulb perks up, but it doesn't. So I have a funny suspicion that again we have some root issues, case in which I need to remove the flower spike and repot the orchid to see what we have inside. There's also the possibility that we do have some roots, but the multitude of flowers is just a little too much for this pseudobulb. In the back we only have another tiny back bulb, so we don't have backups or other storage devices for this orchid. I do see a new growth though, so that's very good. But yeah, I think this orchid will not be in bloom for much longer because I would rather have a healthy orchid than a blooming orchid. But it looks very, very pretty. I have to say, I really like it. The next two are the first buys, I think. I found these about a month ago. You can see they're kind of losing flowers already, but that's okay because they seem healthy. These are both a Stirbic variety. I think there are two varieties available on the market, one a little bit more purple and the other one a little bit more red. I might be wrong on the ID. I know for a fact that this is a Stirbic red. I'm not entirely sure about this one, but I did find it on the internet with the ID Stirbic. So that's what I've been calling them, but it's nothing official. I've just been calling them like that just to identify them, just to know who we're talking about. But anyway, I purchased them because if you remember, this spring we did save a Stirbic, or we tried to. It was in very poor condition. Guess what? It didn't make it in the end. It slowly and surely faded away. So I was on the lookout for a new Stirbic when I found these guys, and I do believe, oops, yep, I need a new tripod, you guys, sorry. So these are the pseudobulbs. Let me just turn them for you. There we go, they look quite good. So I do believe these guys have a lot more roots than my previous Stirbic did. If you remember, it only had one root, so I'm hopeful that these ones will do better. The Stirbics, in all honesty, I find them to be quite finicky orchids overall because they have very strong Odontoglossum influence. And P.S. do you know Inca orchids here in Europe? Well, they actually do write Odontoglossum on their tag, so that's more than your typical orchid tag, right? So yeah, these orchids, they might have some Oncidium in their parentage, but mainly a lot of Odontoglossum influence. They really don't like the heat all that much, but they can cope with it quite okay if they have strong root systems, if they have ventilation, if they're protected from strong light, if they have humidity. They can do okay, and I did okay with some of them in the past, but again, they work with that threshold. If you reach the stress limits, they're gonna give up. But anyway, happy I managed to find them again. Odontoglossums are beautiful. I love them, but I'm slightly afraid of them. These guys together with the, what's the yellow one called? Geyser Gold. Oh wow, I haven't seen the Geyser Gold in so many years. I want to find it. Anyway, that one is the hybrid that scares me the most because I had some bad experiences with it. Many people had bad experiences with it, but it's so beautiful. Anyway, what to do? If you don't risk, you don't win. Alrighty, next up, this is a good one, and I don't know what it is. Hey guys, Editing Danny here. I just realized that this one looks very, very similar to the Beallara Marfitch Renaissance Coral. If you remember, back in September, I found an orchid on the market which was losing her flowers and was looking like this. And many of you suggested that that one is the Renaissance Coral. However, the flowers on that orchid were much smaller, half the size of this particular one. And looking at the two images side by side, I'm not entirely sure if they're the same orchid. So maybe this one is the Marfitch Renaissance one and the other one is something else, or maybe they're the same and that one was very, very stressed. I don't know. I'm keeping them both and seeing how they will rebloom, but when I saw this one, it did not cross my mind that it might even look similar to the other one from September. So yeah, anyway, on with the video. Also, I'm kind of doubting it is a Beallara because it doesn't have that peppery scent that most Beallaras, or nowadays called Alisaras, have. It smells, you wouldn't believe it, slightly flowery. The pseudobulb looks like it could be a Beallara or Alisara. It's rather slender, it doesn't have that egg shape, let's say, but the flower spike is really massive and the flowers are quite large. They are about 7-8 centimeters or so in diameter. They're quite thick and full of substance. They're beautiful, they're gorgeous, but I have no idea what this orchid is. I found it last week actually in a flower shop and the tag itself says nothing. So I don't know what this could be. If you guys have any ideas, let me know in the comment section below. Every year I see new hybrids on the market, at least the market here. And I'm happy because this looks incredible. Now, if the orchid will be vigorous as well, I'm gonna be even happier. But oh my goodness, if this is not the epitome of Oncidium hybrids and their splendor, I don't know what is. This is gorgeous. And I promise that if I see it again until the giveaway, I'm just gonna buy one and put it in the giveaway because yeah, it's beautiful. And I don't know how often we're gonna get to see this in flower shops. Hopefully as often as the Cheyenne, but who knows? And lastly, to finish off the Oncidium intergenerics, yes, a Nelly Eiler, because the recent one that I purchased came pre-installed with rotting.exe, and I couldn't do anything about it. So I'm hoping that this one is problem-free. It certainly looks that way. It doesn't have too many pseudobulbs. It's really rare to find a Nelly Eiler with many back bulbs, but what I see looks okay. It looks like it's plump, so I'm hoping to have a decent root system in the medium, but with these guys, you never know. It is a Miltoniopsis hybrid. It has a lot of Miltoniopsis influence, and with that, you can never know what's gonna happen. But anyway, the Nelly Eiler, I think, will forever be in my collection in one way or the other. But yeah, it's just one of those that it's super finicky. And lastly, as the title of this video may or may not say, I'm not decided on the title yet, I did purchase myself a Phalaenopsis as well, which is a very rare case. But this one, even though you cannot tell right now, don't worry, I have a picture. This one is a big lip Phalaenopsis, which I really like, and I really do like the colors of it. I find it to be unique. I actually purchased it quite a while back, so the initial flowers are spent, but we have some more buds developing. On this branch, we have quite a lot of them, and here we have another secondary branch growing. So I will be able to show it to you in glorious bloom again. There is, however, a major issue with this orchid. Can you spot the problem? If you said terminal spike, then you are correct. One of the spikes is terminal, meaning this one. And this means the orchid will not grow any more leaves from the crown. And judging by how it looks like, I do believe the crown is completely damaged. I don't think the flower spike leaves any room for the crown to keep growing here. So we need to look out for a keiki, and I intend on actually promoting a keiki on this orchid. It's not the time yet to use the keiki paste. I kind of postponed the keiki paste experiment because I do want to make a, let's say, special type of video about it, but we're gonna pick it up in the spring, most probably. But this one though, yeah, I will try to encourage a keiki. Most of the times, terminal spike Phalaenopsis will produce a keiki on their own, but sometimes they don't. And I find this to be quite a unique hybrid that I think is predisposed to terminal spikes. I hope not, but I do want to obtain a keiki and start it over. We're gonna try to obtain a spike keiki, and who knows, possibly the orchid will try to produce a basal keiki as well. We'll see. It's gonna be fun to watch and see what happens. With super complex gene pools, you can have these anomalies. And it's just how genetics go. You get beautiful, unique, new types of flowers, but you have some anomalies which are not normally supposed to happen, and we'll see if we can work around them. And that is about it for today. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you found this entertaining. Stay tuned for Friday's video for our orchid seminar. And with that said, you know the drill. Like or dislike this video below. Subscribe to my channel for regular orchid videos, tutorials, and African violets videos from time to time, which we'll have very soon. I need to separate the baby plants. Anyway, and if you wish to support the channel, do consider visiting the merch store down below. And with that said, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!